for those, especially for those I educated or we educated, but for the rest of them as well, because they also, everybody who helps those patients does a good job. But the environment, when they come out of their house, away from the family, when they see others who suffer from the same disease, they have the same problems, they have gone through the same, I also call it odyssey, till they found finally a therapist who can help them. And then please, and then here I speak to the therapists, do not forget that MLD can more, manual lymph drainage can more than just reduce edemas. This, which goes aside, is this well-being feeling. We don't hurt. We are not massaging. We do lymph drainage. They feel, how often, this morning Renee told me, but that doesn't hurt. Patients say, this is not deep. What's that? Okay, manual lymph drainage. And as a good therapist, we have to adapt our pressure to the tissue pressure, which is very decisive. And in many cases, lymphedema, they have a firm, taut tissue. So we have to give much more pressure than when I have a recent twisted ankle, also a thick swelling. And I work with MLD, but completely different. When I teach, I know I'm a little bit crazy, and I have a little bird around, and I say it's an albatross, and I pamper it, but it's really, you will have great results when you do a very, very light pressure, not hurting the patient. When the patient comes to you, they suffer from something, and if it is only that they are afraid that you hurt them, they have been through so many hands, and most of them said, we cannot help you. Or then they go deep, and we have to go this deep. It's just wrong. You can remove a lymphedema only in the skin, and that's it. So why should we go deep? But when the skin, the tissue is firm, then of course we have to go firmer. And that a therapist learns by being taught with words, which is not so helpful. And therefore we always appreciate when we have in our classes patients we can treat and show, and at home there are, patients immediately say, oh, can I have twice? And so, and it's really nice how patients help the therapists how to work. Go on, I remember one lady, she said, it's too light. Oh, he was afraid, it was a guy, was afraid. She said, firmer, firmer. And when he bandaged her, she said, that's nothing more. Till she suddenly said, yes, now it's okay. And that, but it was so firm, he never had dared to do it, you know. We always have in mind we will not hurt the patient, but we will help them. And when we are so light and do not engage ourselves, do not concentrate on the patient, then we will not be able to help them. And it's not so much a body work, unless you have to treat a real lymphedema, then it's body work. But otherwise, it is more or less a concentration on the patient. And our hands should not slide. They move the skin, you see, and therefore I insist so much. There's so much about the original method, and it's so hard to teach. And Renee said I was around with a whip. I don't know. I just let it back in Austria. But others say, oh, Hildegard changed a lot. She's much softer now, and it's aging, you know. That's that you get softer and feel a little bit with your students. But at that time, my husband just had died. I had to take over, and people or schools were asking me, do you think you are as good as your husband? And this is hard to take, you see, when you always work together with him. And, okay, I could go on with little stories anyhow. I made it, and therefore when I came over to the States, I thought, I will really teach them the right thing, not give in, not 1 millimeter. And now I found out that giving in a little bit is maybe sometimes easier for the students. I beg your pardon when I was with a whip going around. But I just wanted to teach them the right thing and to put in them the little sparkle of my enthusiasm about MLD, as you might hear. And I do this since 1971 when I became a teacher, and that I am a teacher, and then I stand here. I owe only to Emil Fodder. He was constantly telling my husband, Hildegard has to learn MLD. Hildegard has to. I said, no, just no. 4 kids and the house. And no, just no. You have to, yeah. There is a limit you can do. Till finally, Günther said, please learn it. He drives me crazy. Each letter, each phone call, each visit. Oh, so finally I learned it, and here I am. And see you all, and I'm really happy to have these wonderful girls with me, and I'm really happy to bring this closer to you. Yeah, I hope I do that. So now I come to my real thing here. Bandaging and compression. Now you sit here in the, how would I say, in the center of bandaging. I have heard Renee so often, and she's just, I think she's a bandaging lady, what I am for MLD. And she knows so many, and each time I see her on reviews, she comes with something new and something better, all for the patients. And this is something I really like, when there are thoughts, how could we help, and is this better for my patient, and so. Now, this is a very simple way I explain the bandaging, why and why not, and how, and that's the way we do it at home. But I must also give a big thank you and a big, yeah, our therapists are very creative, and they do all sorts of things in addition to what they should do as a normal bandage. And I describe just the normal bandage, and it might be interesting because there are the question, why compression? Why compression? And it is, if you think of it in an edema, we see the edema in the tissue and in the skin, but also the lymph vessels are dilated. And lymph vessels, like veins, have valves, and when a vessel is dilated, the valves don't close any longer. And then the liquid goes up and down, and so when we push it up with lymph drainage, and they stand up or they let the arm hang, then it comes back immediately. And so with compression, we have to replace the tissue pressure. When we take liquid out from the tissue to places where it has been swallowed by the system where it's working, then of course the skin remains a little bit too long, too dilated, because the skin does not reduce that quick as we have, for instance, can remove liquid from the tissue. And then compression replaces the skin pressure and the tissue pressure so that liquid cannot go back immediately. It will go back, of course, because we cannot replace it completely, but slower. So the compression is an art. Do I move too much? No. The compression is really an art, and you have to learn it. And I always tell my students, be creative with your compression. Don't stick to it, what we taught you. Listen to Renee, what she says. There are so many things on the market. Find out what is best for this patient or for the other patient, and then use it, and you will see how you get great results. Now, none of the patients want to be bandaged. No? Simply no. I mean, in the clinic it's easy because it's a must. The whole staff has to refer to the medical doctor, to the director, or to the other doctors if a patient is not bandaged. Why? There must be a reason, or they will be bandaged. And this